Hello, everyone. Today is day 10th, January 10th. We're reading from Job 24 through 28. Now, this has been quite the marathon and different responses to the book of Job. Some people look at Job and say, boy, this is a difficult book. It seems somewhat repetitive. It's negative, and I'm just struggling getting through it. And then I find there are other people just saying, wow, this is really ministering to me. Okay. It's like, misery enjoys company. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but I know that for some people who are right now in the midst of crisis, in the midst of adversity, that there is some comfort that comes from the fact that we know that Job, as described by God himself, is a blameless and an upright man. And he's experiencing all this adversity, opposition, and bad treatment by friends. And in some ways, you're able to identify, and it brings comfort to realize that even the best of people experience these kind of challenges. Well, in these chapters 24 through 28, Job answers that his situation is much worse than his friends think that it is. That is so often true, isn't it? That many times we are flippant in our appreciation for what others around us may be going through. And so his friends have been very harsh and hard, and Job responds saying, I don't think you understand. And we don't. Until we walk in someone else's steps, we do not understand the depth of despair and difficulty. Job would like to present his case before God. And this is he seems to be laying his case. You'll see this continue to grow, and it's remarkable because he does demonstrate a determination to press in there, even when it's evident he does not feel God. And when you're sick and when you had loss and you have pain, it seems as though God's a million miles away. And so you try to consider this is where Job is at in his life. Now in chapter 25, we have Bildad's third round of arguments, and his answer in this case, Bildad's answer it's brief. And in fact, in this case, it's even somewhat thoughtful. And he himself is wondering why Job hasn't broken. Any man under normal situations would certainly have caved by now. And he's wondering in this scenario here, Bildad's wondering, is he guilty? In chapter 26, here's Job's answer. Job's largest speech is from this chapter 26 on, and it's an expression of his unwavering faith in God. Even though he has questions, even though we can see him struggling through all of this, the overwhelming reality here is that Job has an enormous faith in God in spite of his circumstances and situation. He speaks of God's majesty and God's splendor in incredible detail. In chapter 26:7, he says it in this way. He says, God stretches out the north over empty space. He hangs the earth on nothing. It's remarkable that Job had this divine connection, because remember, we talked a couple days ago that he talks about his Redeemer, that my Redeemer liveth. And he may not have even understood what he was saying, but he identifies in the Spirit a revelation of truth that we understand the Redeemer is Jesus. In this passage, he says he hangs the earth on nothing. How did he know that the earth is hung on nothing? How did he know that the circle of the earth, where he describes in detail what we did not even know, or at least affirm until much, much, much later? You see, he has a connection with God, and his revelation is remarkable, even in the darkness of his despairs. After describing his marvelous ways of creation, Job says in 26:4, indeed, these are the mere edges of God's ways, and how small a whisper we hear of him, but the thunder of his power, who can understand? Job insists that as long as he has breath, he says, quote, my lips will not speak wickedness. Job asks, from where does wisdom come? In this whole discourse here in the 28th chapter, pursuing wisdom, where does wisdom come from? And his concluding remarks is, behold, God says, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil, that is understanding. Every chapter is a revelation God is speaking through his word. And I pray today that God will bless his word in your life and that it will spring forth and give you a comfort and an insight that maybe you've not experienced before. I pray a blessing upon you today in Jesus' name.